Welcome back to Every Choice YouTube channel. In today's class, we are going to learn how to make this beautiful bridal veil that we see here. Okay, it can be used to cover your face like this in front, and this is what it looks like on the back. And you can also decide to flip the front to the back like this, so that you can expose the front just like you would do your regular bridal veil. It's a very simple tutorial, and we did not use a sewing machine to do this, so you can see that it is going to be beginner friendly as well. You can make this yourself in minutes. It's very easy to make. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned till the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to make this veil, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm using just 2 yards of veil net, but depending on the length of the veil that you want to make, okay, we are making like a cathedral veil, is usually very long, so you will need more net. But for this tutorial, I'm just working with 2 yards of veil net, and there are several methods you can use for this veil. I'm going to be using the flare method, the high-low flare method. So there are several methods we can actually use to get different types of veil, bridal veils that we have. So if you like tutorials on other methods as well, let me know in the comment section down below. So for this particular method, I'm going to be putting my fabric on fold into 2 like this, and then I'm going to put it again into 4. So basically I'm folding this fabric into 4. So what I did was just to fold my fabric into 2 like this, and then again I folded it into 4. Okay, so after folding into 2 and 4, what I'm going to do next now is to take my measurement. So the measurement is your front veil. Of course, the front is going to be short because you want it moderate. You don't want your bride to trip because of long veil. So the front has to be moderate. It stops around the waistline or wherever you want it to stop. It just should not extend to the lower part, so that it doesn't make her fall. So it should be moderate. So you need the length of the front, let's say the front is 12, plus the length of the back. So that depending on how long you want it to be, the back can be on your maybe hip length or your floor length, or anywhere you want it to be. So I'm just going to assume that we want our back to be 20 inches. So now you're going to add this together, and that's going to give me 32. So that is what you're going to use to measure your flare. So now from this, remember we have folded this into 4. So from this now, you're going to measure 32 all around from the apex like that. But for me, because I'm using these 2 yards, I'm just going to mark what these 2 yards can give me. So once I have that, so now from the origin here, I think I have about 27 inches. So it is this 27, okay, is this 27 inches that I'm going to mark all around in form of a flare. So now I'm marking 24 inches. So what I did was just mark the 24 inches from here, mark 7 inches, sorry, and then you use that to form your flare. So after forming your flare of 27 inches, you just take your scissors and then cut around that flare that you have. So after cutting it, this is what it's going to look like, and this is what I have here. You can see now that the M of the is white. That's why it's not so obvious. So you can see the M now is round like what we have on the paper. So now to get our length for the front, remember you already decided the length that you have for the front. So after opening it up into a half circle like this, so I'm going to open this up into a half circle as well, and then I'm going to decide on the length that I want. So now I decided that I want it to be on the waistline. So from here now, I'm going to measure to my waistline. So let's say that's 12 inches, and that's going to stop there. So now it means all this front now, all this from here to here is going to be for my front, and then from here to here is going to be for my back. So now I'm just going to fold it like this. Okay, so you can see this is the front and this is the long back. So I'm folding it like this, and then I'm going to put it on fold like this so that I can work on it easily. So which is what I'm doing on my fabric. So now I've opened it up into a semicircle like this. So from here I'm going to measure around 18 inches, okay, for my front, and then I'm going to stop it here. So now on that point now I'm going to open it up like this. You can see I'm folding it. So this short one is for my front, and this long one is for the back. So I have folded it as I've explained in the with the paper. Okay, so it's not like this. So the next thing now is to bring my comb. Okay, you can get this comb anywhere they sell tailoring materials. So for a little bride, you can just use half of it and break it into two, and then for a bride, you just use the full comb like this. So now to place the comb, you can see the midpoint that you have here. So you try to centralize the comb like this. You place it in between the midpoint. So this is the center here. So I'm going to place it like this, and then you find a way to sew it to your net. So now there are two ways you can do this. You can apply your glue on it like this, and then glue it first. Then after gluing it to the net, you pick your needle and thread, and then you start sewing it from the lower part. So you sew in a way like this, like you are coiling it with the fabric and the comb. Another way you can do this now is to get a leftover net fabric, and then you wrap it around the comb. So after wrapping it around the comb, with that you'll be able to tack on the comb easily. Place it like this in between now, and then you start putting it in between the comb like this. So this will just give you something, a fabric to sew on when you want to tack this to your. So you just do it carefully. I don't want to break this comb, so I'm just placing it in between like this. Okay, and then when you are done, you push it to the hem like this, and you can see you have fabric now to sew on. You can see that I have plastered it now all around. So here I'm just going to find a way to sew it or tack it together, and then you can see now that the comb is together with the fabric. I hope my camera is focusing well. So now after doing that, I'll just tack it to the neck. Okay, so now I'm just going to bring the midpoint just like I explained, and then I'm going to place this now on it the way I'm going to attach it to the hair. Okay, and then I'm going to sew it with my needle and thread. Okay, so now you can see I'm just tacking it. I hope you can see my stitches here. So you just tack it just to make sure it's held to each other. So you can see that my own is held to each other now. I have tacked it. So now I'll just tie it somewhere. So after securing it and tying it, I'm just going to cut off my thread. So now the next thing now is to embellish it. Remember, this is a bridal veil, so you cannot leave it just plain like this. It has to be really beautiful. So there are several things you can embellish with it. You can bead, you can add pearls on it, you can add sequin, you can use lace trimming. Okay, so you can use lace trimming, and then you sew it around the edges, all around the edges. So you can use edges of your lace, or if you have like a George fabric that has patterns like this, you can just cut out these patterns and then place it at the edges like this, just to make it beautiful. And I think I'm going to be using this flower for mine, this flower that I have there. I'm just going to place it on the edges as intervals, so you can see the edges that I have here. So I'm just going to place it just to make it more pronounced and beautiful. So I'm just going to use my glue to attach these flowers to the edges. And like I said, if you have really beautiful lace that has nice edges on the hem, you can cut that out as well and then sew it all around. You can also use trimmings like this. You place it on the edges and then you sew it to the edges, just to have something really beautiful. So for this tutorial, I don't want to waste too much fabric, so I'm just going to use this lace rose that I have, and then with my fabric glue I'm just going to apply it all around. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead to add the trimming, so you can just add whatever you have. I'm just using this flower for the sake of this tutorial. So the last thing to do now on this part I want to cover it. So you can cover it with brooch, trimming or whatever, but I'm just going to use the flower to cover the sewing, the snap stitches that I have there. So I'm just going to gum the flower on it as well, so that it can be beautiful. But I recommend you just place a tiny trimming, so that it's not going to obstruct when you want to flip it over to the front to cover the face. So that is all you need to do. And if you notice, we did not use a sewing machine throughout in this tutorial. It was made with just needle and thread. So this is something you can quickly do for yourself in minutes. It's very simple and beginner friendly. So now I'll take this to the mannequin so that we can see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what we have now. You can see the short part is just stops around here when it's flipped to the back, and then for the long one you can be as long as you want. Like I explained it to you, I just want mine around the hip area, so you can see how it stops. And then you can use lace trimmings. Lace trimmings just makes it more beautiful. I just decided to use this because we are working on a tutorial, and the length can be as long as you want. And like I said, there are several methods you can use to make this veil, so this is just one of it. So consider doing another one in the next tutorial. Just let me know in the comment section. So now if you turn it to the front, this is what it's going to look like on the right side. You can see it just extends to the side a little bit, and then you can decide to just take the short part and then you use it to cover your face. So this is what it looks like. It can stop anywhere. It can stop on your chest line, it can stop on your waistline. This mannequin is very tall, as you can see, so that is why it's looking this short. So you can do it anyhow you want, just like I explained. So you can see how simple it is to make this veil and how beautiful it is. So this is what it looks like on the side, and this is what it looks like on the back. So I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.